say, this is my homework. Who knows the answer? So how do we as an education system respect and understand this? Our kids are sophisticated consumers. They don't need to wait for us to teach them stuff anymore. They go find it on the net themselves. They make relationships. They build friendships. They learn from each other. So my daughter learned how to design clothes on Second Life. I said, well, that's interesting. So what happened? She said, well, then I met somebody else because I thought to myself, my clothes were better than the clothes I was selling. I said, oh yeah. She said, so what I thought would be really great would be if I could open my own shop. I said, well. She said, so I went to speak to a virtual real estate agent. And they found me an empty shop. And she said, I haven't had enough money saved up from my job in Second Life to pay for 3 months of rent on my shop. So I signed a lease and I have a shop of my own. She's 14. So I said, wow. Anyway, I went away and forgot about it for a while, came back a month or so later, and I said, how's it going on Second Life? She said, amazing. I said, how's your shop? She said, amazing. Do you want to see it? I said, I'd love to. So we went on to Second Life. Now, for those of you that have used Second Life, you'll know you fly everywhere. It's lovely. You don't have to catch a bus or a train or get in a car. Last night, it took me 2.5 hours to fly from England here. On Second Life, I could be in Madrid within 5 seconds because you fly. So here's another challenge, you see. Our children are the on-demand generation, whether we like it or not. They don't need to wait for anything, do they? They can have it now. Now, whether we like it or not is almost irrelevant because that's how they think. For example, in Spain, did you get the television program Glee? Yeah? It's an American program where the kids are set in a school and the kids dance and they sing. Hugely popular in America, hugely popular in the UK. And what's really interesting about this, I think it's now in its 3rd season in America, 3rd or 4th season in America. And every show, every TV show, they have 2 or 3 songs that the kids sing on the and it's spread around the world because other children have texted and tweeted and everybody's watching Glee. And what they do is within 10 seconds of the episode airing in America, you can download the music within 10 seconds on iTunes. The on-demand generation. Now, what's really interesting about that is in the UK last week, there was a report. I don't know if you know, but the most successful band in American music history is the Beatles. Beatles, last week, had more top 100 hits in the American Billboard charts than any other band in history. They had 72 hits in the American hit parade. Last week, this little television program, with its children who sing each episode, have just become more popular than the Beatles in American music. They have had, and they're still releasing songs. In 3 years of this program running, they have now had 75 hits in the US Billboard charts. They have overtaken the Beatles. The on-demand generation. So, my daughter, she goes online and she's talking to these people. She's got her shop. And she takes me to see now her new shop because now she's not got the same shop anymore, I think. Now she takes me to somewhere like Santa Monica, beaches and palm trees and this beautiful. I said, this isn't where your shop was. She said, no, it's where my new shop is. I said, what happened to your old shop? She said, I've still got my old shop. She said, but I was making so much money that I went to see a financial consultant. She's 14. And the financial consultant told me that what I needed to do was invest my profits in another shop. So I did. I said, well, who's running your first shop? She said, well, I've been to the virtual employment agency. And I've hired a couple of people, and I've trained them, and they're running my first shop for me. Now, by now, my jaw is on the floor. And then she said, but Dad, the best bit is yesterday I signed a contract on a third shop in virtual London. Now, apparently, according to my daughter's maths teacher, my daughter is rubbish at math. She's rubbish at the syllabus. Do not tell me she's rubbish at math. And that's a challenge for us, isn't it? Because the assumptions of the way things have always been have now changed. The way we've always lived have changed. And the onus now is on us. The responsibility is on us, both to project forwards and prepare our children for that world of uncertainty, but to make sure they come through the system empowered. And secondly, it's to realize and respect that our children are very, very, very different to us. And therefore their expectations and their needs as students in schools are very different to the ones we had. And if all we do is we continue to do the things we've always done, our children will become more disaffected and less prepared for their future. If I may, I'd like to finish with a story, and then I believe there's time for some questions. And my final story comes from China. A number of years ago, I was privileged enough to spend some time in China evaluating some of the curriculum reform programs that were taking place in China. And part of the job was to see if I could work out, with a group of people, whether I could work out the impact of the Chinese education reform program on their incredible economic boom. I'd never really got to the bottom of that. But what I did was I had the opportunity to visit a lot of secondary schools in China. And most of what I saw disturbed me as an educator. Because what I saw was a very prescriptive system, where of course in China the attitude is we make sure that children take on a lot of knowledge, they don't question very often, they have to have high levels of stamina to do a lot of intense industrial jobs to keep the country going. So in most, just to let you know, the average class size in a Chinese secondary school is 60 to 65 children.